had to miss the first half of practice because I had an NCHC call I had to be on, but they've been really good in the last, since last Monday. It was a really, really bad day, and then ever since then, they've been really sharp and dialed in. The detail gets better every day, and like I said, they're ready to go play somebody else, and drop the puck and get the season started.
Welcome back to Live in 5, baby. It is episode number 57. Sitting across from me right now, as always, the captain, my co-host Gage, Auzzo, Ausmus. Folks, we have head coach of ASU coming on today, Auzzo. That is Greg Powers of Sun Devil Hockey. They get started this weekend in Air Force. So that is in the chin of Colorado Springs at Cadet Ice Arena. We chatted with Coach Powers a little bit there. Got to know just a little bit what's going on in the desert. They are entering their first year in NCHC play, so they're fired up. They're all horned up, ready to go. He's such a beauty. He was a great dude. We talked to him for about 40 minutes, so really cool awesome, that ASU is getting into the mix. We talked about ASU hockey, obviously, bringing that kind of just everything between the last 20 years of a buildup for ASU hockey, getting them into where they are now, Mullett Arena, and it was very humble beginning. So great chat with Coach Powers. I think that people will like that one. Obviously, UND in action as well this weekend, so they got an exhibition game against Augustana. But before we get to our interview with Coach Powers, as we always do, Auzzo, we have the pre-show over here, and that is brought to you by Mini Movers and Butter Golf. Butter Golf is the official lifestyle and apparel brand over here at Live in 5. Mini Movers, obviously the official moving company of Live in 5. Folks, if you need something packed, you need your shit moved anywhere else outside of Minnesota, well, the captain will get that done. They'll get you a quote. They'll get you a quote to wherever you want things going. Obviously, they will handle with care, and it will be delivered on time in one piece. So if you need a quote today, you can get a free quote at minimovers.com. Go over to their socials on X and Instagram. Again, that is at the Mini Movers, or DM the captain on Instagram or X as well to get a free quote and see what's good and see maybe I need something moved. And you know what? Auzzo can help me out. So, Auzzo, we always plug our YouTube page over here. That is at Live in 5 2024. So, folks, please go over there, like, subscribe. I think we're getting close to 4,000 subs, so that's really good. Views are going up on our YouTube page in terms of people tuning in on that versus, Apple or Spotify. I mean, we love that too for our downloads and whatnot, but please go over to our YouTube page. That's where we're trying to traffic most of our listeners and followers. So at Live in 5 2024 for that. Auzzo, our last ad read before we get into the weekend recap, as always, is from Gladiator Therapeutics. We were talking about last week. Maybe Brett Favre could use a device like this. I was talking to Dr. George, and he's still pumping this thing out. He said he's got the Utah Jazz in on it. He said he's got the Pittsburgh Penguins, a couple other NFL teams, NHL teams starting to listen. So I assume if the product, Auzzo, is with the Jazz, it'll probably be with the Utah Hockey Club, even though, before we even – obviously, Nicky has a device. He's used it in the past. But it sounds like a lot of sports teams are starting to get behind this. And, go check that out at gladiatortherapeutics.com. But the ad read is, are you tired of dealing with chronic aches and pains or neurological conditions? Gladiator Therapeutics offers a revolutionary solution using quantum physics to improve your health. Our devices use patented technology to emit far infrared light, stimulating cellular processes without heat. This can reduce inflammation, speed up healing, and enhance mobility. Clinical trials show impressive results, including a 400% increase in survivability in stem cells, accelerated wound healing up to 68% faster, and significant improvements in Parkinson's disease models. Wearable 24/7 without power, our devices can be a game changer. Visit www.gladiatortherapeutics.com/contact little-drgm to learn more and start your journey to better health today. Auzzo, fella, I saw you this weekend. We had a bottle of Caymus on the line for the Packers-Vikings game. It had real no hope in terms of the first half, just the Vikings just beating the Packers, just over, take them to the woodshed early on. Obviously, they established a little bit of a comeback Jordan Love shaking off some of that rust. But you know what? I lost a bottle of Belfour whiskey to you last year. And now this year, I paid it back with some Caymus. So you're up 2 Cobb in these games, Auzzo. And I think last year, the Packers ended up winning the second game, but we didn't throw any action on that one. So maybe we'll have to double down for this one. But good to see your chin, fella. How's the work week been? Because I was kind of sneaky hung leaving Mini on Monday. I won't lie. I was feeling it a little bit, fella.
Yeah. I don't know. I like those times, Jordo, because I didn't really do anything Saturday. You go in. I actually got a workout before I saw you, so I was feeling pretty good. Those Coors Lights mixed with a little Clamato, those were going down pretty easy. It was a great time. And yeah, I fell asleep at like 8:30 that night, like I told you. It sneaks up on you for sure when you have a few beers. I don't know how many I got down there, but number got up there pretty quick. You were drinking the what were you? You had the margarita, the skinny margs, and I was going beers. So
yeah, I had the skinny margs going in. Like you said, you shut it down at 8:30. So you're feeling okay when you wake up. It's not like you're like fully stung, but you wake up and you're like, oh fuck, I guess I did have 10 tequilas. Like wonder what it could be. What it could be. Hey, remember when the waiter pulled me over? We were sitting at the Muni watching the game, and the waiter of this place over at the Muni in Wayzata pulls me aside like he's my dad talking to a kid. And he's like, hey, man, like, just want to make sure you're good. I know you've had a few drinks. I go, fella, I'm all set, and I'll take another one and actually make that a double bartender because I'm going to play my own ball, and I'm going to be okay, fella. I'm at about 8 drinks right now. Some nights, I'm not saying I'm just an absolute piss tank here, but I've had 30 drink effort, so I will be okay. But that was funny. He literally pulled me aside. I'm like, yeah, guy, I'm all set, buddy, and I'll do the same order of wings, and I'll take another double. Thanks.
How rattled that rattles me so much when if you deserve it, go ahead. Like, okay, sorry, buddy, you're probably right. But in that case, in that certain scenario that we were in there, there was no evidence you had too much to drink other than he was the one putting the orders in, but we weren't doing anything wrong. Our orders were clear. We were talking to him clear, not making a lot of noise, just sitting there being nice. And he's like, you sure you're okay? You good? It's like, what? What am I doing here?
The best part is he like pulled me aside after I just left the pisser. And it was like before I got back to the high top of 4 there. And he kind of just pulled me aside like it was like, maybe a coach back in the day pulling you aside after a morning skate and saying, hey, you know what? You're not going tonight. You're going to get some extra work in with the aces, the healthy scratches. Get your bike in, get your workout in. You're not going tonight. Okay. So that was like kind of how he treated me in that instance. It was so funny. I was like, yeah, man, I'm all set, fella. But that was pretty funny there and just kind of hanging out. And he almost kind of made me want to have just a couple more just out of spite. But that was pretty funny. Nothing like getting told, are you okay, man? Yeah, man, I'm fine, fella.
It's the worst, especially when you don't. It's not warranted. Like there's no reason for anyone to say that, and then they come out and say that, and now you're like, well, now I'm pissed at you because what's wrong here, buddy? Just give me another drink until I can't talk to you, or I'm slurring my words, or I'm swearing at you, or I'm bothering other people around me. That's when you can come up to me and be like, hey, buddy, are you okay? But you don't ask me if I'm doing okay. If I'm clearly, it looks like I'm doing okay. Like everything looks good here, right, buddy? Like, yeah, it does. So just go get my fucking drink.
On a Sunday at a place like that, unless I piss myself or fall off this bar stool and take everyone down around me and injure a senior citizen, I think you should just be filling them up until we can't get out of here, just safely. I mean, at that point, it's like, what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing? So
not to mention you had a driver. You had a driver.
Yeah, exactly. I had a driver
behind the wheel.
Yeah, I wasn't behind the wheel. I had someone stick handling for me. It was great, Auzzo. I mean, yeah, it was a good weekend. Came in on a PTO. I don't know. We might have found a roster spot maybe later on. I don't think we're going to go too much into depth with that. But yeah, it was good hanging out with you guys there. It was fun. Nothing like coming in on a PTO though. Just a professional tryout. It's always funny. You never know where it's going to go. Had a good time there sitting there. And actually, we should add a camera and a microphone rolling just for us two because I think our jokes were flowing pretty good that day, and I actually got some good reviews. Who I was sitting with there was telling me even later on that night, and even in the next day, she's like, "Oh my God, you and Gage were pretty funny there." I go, "Yeah, that's what we do, baby. That's what we do." So this ain't no hobby.
Jordan, I got some shit a little bit. I guess I was saying that I broke the news about my one-on-one vacations and how I think, group vacations are a lot more fun. So now, I got Gabby telling me, oh, well, fine, you don't want to go on one-on-one vacations with me. We don't have to go on a honeymoon, or we don't have to do this. So I'll just do this. And I'm like, I don't even, okay. Yeah. A group vacation is better. That is what I think, but it doesn't mean I don't like going on one-on-one vacations with you. Those are fun too. It's just a group vacation is better, and there's nothing against you. That's just how I feel. It's a little more fun.
That's so funny you say that, because our good buddy Colton Sanderson for years would always want me, when I had a roommate, would always want me and the significant other at the time to go on group vacations. And I would be looking at him like, dude, I see you enough at this time. I hear you enough. If we're hanging out every day, we're going to have 25 to 40 drinks. Like, my liver is not going to be in one piece. When I go on vacation, for me, Auzzo, I like to get away from people. And if I do have a roommate, or if I want to go with a gal, it's almost like a time for me to decompress. Now, family trips are different. Ski trips or golf trips with the fellas are different. But that's not a Freddie couples like style trip. So when you say a group trip, are you saying like, let's go down to the jaw of Cancun, Mexico, 4 nights, 3-day vacation, and chalk it up that way, hanging out at the resort together, doing group dinners? Like, talk me through like what an ideal group vacation, because it maybe one day you'll be able to persuade me, because I don't know. I usually just separate church and state to the point where if I'm doing a group trip, it's with the fellas. And if I'm doing a singles trip, it's just singles only for me.
Yeah, no, you're right there, but it does depend. Like, it depends on who you're going on the vacation with. Now, I think there are certain couples that would be really fun to go on vacation with. Now, others, maybe your buddy has a tough skunk, you don't want to go on a vacation with them. So it really depends on the person, but I like being at the bar, not necessarily dinner, but just night activities, I'd say. Or maybe if you're going on a boat, I like it being with a group of people. Now, I don't know if I want to go on like a Freddie couples trip to Cancun where you're just sitting on the beach together all day. Like, that doesn't sound fun to me. I'm talking more like a trip where you go and you're kind of doing activities, I guess.
Yeah.
And even skiing, like, I don't mind a ski trip with the couples. Maybe some of the girls don't like skiing. They can sit down there and shop. The boys can ski during the day. You're not with each other the whole day, because sometimes the whole day together, it gets a little long.
Yep.
It gets a little stuffy in there. So
you gotta be drunk.
Yeah, especially if it's, if you're on this vacation for 10 days, you might want to have some buddies there to kind of relieve yourself from that one-on-one time. That's just, it can get exhausting when you're not able to step away and, do that. So you have a point though. It is nice. It's easier to have a relaxing vacation one-on-one versus if you go on a couples trip, you're not relaxing. You're doing shit the whole time.
Yeah, and you make a good point. It has to be with the right couples, because good dude, tough skunk is a tale as old as time. Great dude comes with baggage. Now, you do see it on the other side where you got a good bird and a tough dude. We've talked about that before on this show, probably about a year ago. Mm-hmm. But Auzzo, my thing is when you get on those couples trips, and I was always a guy, even in and around all-star breaks, where there'd be couples make plans every fucking day and every minute of every day. Now, so say like a guy like you, we did that, I think we'd be on the same page. We're like, hey fella, today I'm only going to see you for dinner. And you'd be like, yeah, no problem. I actually don't want to see you either. So it's like, that is good. But when I roll up to the pool to put my towel down at 8:30 in the morning, and you're texting firing up the group chat, hey, did you go down there yet? Can you put one down for me? And then we're drinking pina coladas from 9 a.m. And then we're going to go do something. We're deep sea fishing. And then we're going to go rock climb. And then we're going to go, maybe we're going to mix in a cliff jump. And now all of a sudden it's happy hour drinks. It's into the dinner. Then it's a night out. I got no time for that. That was always my scare. So that's why I avoided those trips. It's like, dude, especially on a hockey team, like, fella, I see you and your wrench enough. Like I just need to get away from you. Now, if it's people you don't see a ton and you're all on the same page, I think it could really work.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was getting at, was like people you don't see all the time.
Yep.
And my vision is like what you said. Like if I go on a couples trip, I'm not going on. I don't want to spend every second with you. I just want you there for maybe even after dinner when we're getting drinks,
Yep.
and then we can meet up and then we can all have drinks together, maybe do something, get a little frisky. I don't know what we're going to do, but it'll be fun. It'd be better than just being solo one-on-one, especially when I'm with, my wife or whatever, who I see literally every day one-on-one. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So yeah, I would never want to be locked down to just hanging out with other people every day, the whole day on that ain't vacation. I mean, that's a fucking boot camp.
Yeah, you're going full couples retreat. You know what I mean? You're getting the yoga class and you got some guy breathing on your girl's neck, and then all of a sudden, who knows? Or maybe even you take it a step further. How funny would it be if you how funny would it be like one day if you had a couples trip and then one of the couples that you haven't maybe seen in a while, but they're a good buddy of yours, and the gals get along, and now they've converted to being swingers, and they're trying to get you into this group sex, or they're trying to get you to maybe switch, maybe bat from the other side. Hey, take my wife. Well, I don't want your wife. And my wife wants nothing to do with you. We're just going to keep this one-on-one. Like, no, man, like I'm telling you, you got to spice it up. No. Listen to me. We don't have to spice up anything. We're all set. Oh my God. I would be crying, laugh at that, something like that. Someone trying to get you to engage.
I get why you want to switch, but that's because my wife's a lot hotter than yours. I don't want any piece of that.
Yeah. Oh man, that is all time. Yeah, that's a good bit, just in terms of guys because I think a lot of times, also, I think it's pretty cut and dry. It's like, yes, there's a big portion of the US that is, and Canada and all over the world, but a big portion of people are either the couples trip people, or they're the solo mission, or maybe it's just one of each. But there's I think that's a really good topic of even just, because I think you can get a lot of different opinions on that. And I would actually like to listen and hear from the viewers and the listeners how they feel about couples trips and how they kind of dice that up. But I think you're somewhere in the middle there, Auzzo. You make great points on both sides, but we were sitting there kind of in a Freddie Couple style environment, but you were rocking a great jersey that day, and a guy that has no shortage of kids, and that is Adrian Peterson. I mean, that guy's ground game back in the day, he was like UPS Express same day type of mail. I mean, just the way he would run, how electric he was, one of the best backs of all time, especially in that era of the 2010s. And I wanted to ask you, that is a great jersey, but what do you think your best jersey you have in your closet is?
Yeah, that's a good question. My selection isn't as big as yours. Now, I actually really like that All-Star jersey I got, that yellow one from last year. Yep. Actually, a very nice jersey. Just doesn't have anyone's name on it. I feel like to make the jersey good, it's got to have a player name on it. I got to get one on there, but I've got a few. I like baseball jerseys, Jordo. Unbelievable style. Can wear them anywhere. You actually look normal wearing them. I got a nice Marcus Stroman Toronto Blue Jays jersey, which I really like. My favorite jersey I have, though, is a Dante Culpepper baseball jersey. And Dante Culpepper fucking used to sling the ball for the Vikings. And it's a baseball jersey. It's purple. It's got the Vikings logo on it. It's fucking nasty. So that's my best one. But that AP one, that brings some heat too. That white old Vikings AP jersey, that's always a good choice.
Yeah, 100%. I love that jersey. And I'm always a guy cruising around eBay, Mitchell and Ness. I'm looking at Nike.com. I'm looking at trying to find a swingman jersey is usually the better ones. And Mitchell and Ness is probably one of the better sites to find them if you're not going to go on eBay. I like unique jerseys. I like jerseys that most people wouldn't know to have, but they're still big-time players. One of my favorite, obviously, is Lou Magic City Williams, and the name bar is his nickname, Lou Willville. So that one is sick. I love that one. I have a Lamar Odom that I'm really big on because obviously anytime a guy has a jammer outside of a bunny ranch and he's just banging a bunch of hookers, like how can you not honor and respect that? I mean, that's as good as it gets right there. That's just good, clean basketball, fundamental basketball. So I love that one. You know what one I love, and I get so much heat for it, but I don't care, being a Packer fan, is my Randy Moss 84 jersey for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
I mean,
great jersey.
the dude out of West Virginia, the dude out of Bell, West Virginia, with that fucking just twang he has, how the way he talks, that backwood twang. So one of my favorite just athletes of all time. And I got probably 20 to 25 jerseys I could talk about and just toot my own horn. But the one jersey that I really, really want is actually comes out of Atlanta ATL back in the day, a Mike Vick black on black with a little red 7 Falcons jersey. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the guy with, the dog fighting rings, but he was in an absolute electric factory back in the day. He was so good, Auzzo. The lefty,
he was
too, like
unbelievable.
he was a lefty. I still am.
It does. It makes it way better that he was a lefty. It makes him so much cooler. Like, I feel like if Lamar Jackson was a southpaw, he'd be cooler. But that Mike Vick jersey with that black and red Falcons, that's tough. That might be one of the best jerseys out there for sure.
It's hard as hell. And the one other jersey I love when I'm on a bender too is my Carlos Boozer, and I wear it backwards. It just says Boozer 5. Like when you're at the bar and you have a Boozer 5, like I'll take 5 drinks right away. What do you mean? I'm Carlos fucking Boozer. If you have that jersey on Auzzo, you got to order 5 at a time. People see that jersey, they're like, that thing is absolutely sick, Swish. Where did you get that? And I got it at a thrift store in New York City in 2017, I believe, on the Lower East Side. I saw that thing and I said, no fucking way. The kid out of Anchorage, Alaska, Carlos Boozer. Are you kidding me? Anytime you're on a bender over 3 or 4 days, you throw that tarp on, it instantly just ignites the group. And you're like, oh, I got no choice. I got a booze. You got Carlos Boozer on.
Do you think that's a guy's real last name, or did he change it? Like, how's your last name Boozer? That's so nails.
And it's spelled that way too. Like, it's not like it's like a different spelling.
Yeah.
It is Boozer. Boozer.
Boozer.
Carlos, what do you do for a living, Boozer?
That guy is destined to live his life in a bar.
If that guy ever goes sober, it's a disgrace to his whole entire eternity and family.
It is.
Like, you're meant to booze. You have to hit the piss. I wonder what he drinks, because he's like a Hispanic Mexican Alaska guy, similar to Scotty G. Love Gomez, who's up there as well from Anchorage, Alaska. But yeah, that's I would just like to know like what people have for jerseys. Another one that comes to my mind is Jason the Jet Terry. And do you remember, Auzzo, when Jet Terry he was playing, I forget where he was playing. He was playing maybe, was it San Antonio or somewhere
Mavericks?
Before he got to Dallas?
Before then?
Yeah, before he got to Dallas. I'm not sure where he was playing, but before the year started, he got the Larry O'Brien trophy tattooed on his inner bicep and said, we're going to win the whole thing. And what did they do? They won it. So Jason the Jet Terry got the tattoo before the season started. I think that was 2011.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was one of the most nails thing you could ever do. And he's a kid. I mean, Jet, he's from inner city Seattle, grew up, headband legend.
Was it Milwaukee or Boston that he was at before?
Yeah, it was one of the two. I don't know. Was it after?
Maybe it might have been after. I don't know.
Might have been after. I don't know where the Jet was playing before that. But yeah, when they won it that one year, he got the tattoo before the season started, and they won it. So that's maybe like nail gun.
Is that like the only time that's ever happened? Like the guy gets it before the season and it actually happens?
Yeah, it's got to be few and far between. I mean, like, what are you thinking there, and how high were you walking into that tattoo shop? Those are a couple questions I have for you. You know, one jersey too, Auzzo, that I've always been just itching to find, and I can't find it. It's that black Cavaliers jersey that our buddy Keaton Thompson used to have, and I thought about stealing it so many times. It was the J.R. Faded Smith black on black Cavalier jersey.
Nasty.
Remember how sick that was?
Oh yeah, that's a hell of a jersey.
Yeah, that's sick. So yeah, we could go on all day here, folks. But
all right, we're heading on to Week 5 NFL this week again, guys. NFL Week 5 is brought to you by Broshin Sunscreen. Are you tired of your girl hassling you about wearing sunscreen on the golf course? We were, and that's why we created Broshin and simplified the process by conveniently packaging the sunscreen into single-use packets sold on Amazon. Remember, boys, always wear protection, even on your skin and when you're out in the sun and you're not in the bedroom. You still got to wear protection. Your girl doesn't want you getting skin cancer. Doesn't want you getting wrinkles. Put that brochure on, folks. Put that brochure on. It's a simple packet. Like we said last week, Jordo. Works great. You don't want to carry around that full tube. It usually goes to waste, explodes. Just grab these packets, fellas. Cheaper too, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, I could use some brochure right now, how fucking hot it is still in AZ right now. I was playing tennis yesterday, Auzzo, and it was 109 out, midday, and then today it was 105. Like, if I had some brochure, I can tell that I got a little red. I mean, even with this, Indian blood in me, you're still going to get a little sunburn, especially in that desert heat. So if I had some brochure, I would have thrown it on. I'm not just going to be carrying around just a big thing of SPF 30. Like, I need just a little pack, the one-off packet. So great idea. Hell of a company. So go check that out, folks. Broshin, that is the sunscreen for the bros. Auzzo, looking over to week 5 in the NFL. Just want to get your look and just dissect your coconut a little bit in terms of what you're looking at for your lock coming up this week. Do you have anything on that slate that kind of jumps out on Sunday or Monday? Obviously, the Vikings are heading to, I believe, London to play the New York Football Jets. So that game, you never know how it's going to go in London. Funny story I actually saw about guys talking about is Richie Incognito. When he played over in the London games, I don't know what team he was playing for at the time because he played for half the league. Unbelievable player, borderline Hall of Famer. But he was talking about every time that there was a kick, people were cheering. So whether it was a kickoff, a punt, or a field goal, people were like cheering like
soccer.
It was like soccer. Yeah. And he's like, hey, no, this is not, why are you cheering for a kickoff? So that was a funny story I heard on the London games. But if you're looking at Sunday, Auzzo, what stands out to you, fella, in terms of just, maybe your lock of the week, Auzzo's lock? Do you have anything there?
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, I'll actually tip my cap from last week, Jordo. I had the Bucks over the Eagles. They were dogs at home, and they actually took the Eagles to the woodshed, which makes me happy because I hate those Eagles. Everyone knows, Philadelphia Eagles fans, you guys suck, and no one likes you. Sorry. If you're a good guy, maybe you do, but fuck the Eagles. Anyways, this week, I'm going to go Bills at Texans. The Bills are favored by a point. I think the Texans are pulling out a win. They're at home. Two good teams going at it. That's probably the best game of the weekend, I'd say, other than Ravens-Bengals. I was thinking about that one too. Joey Burrow's got to pull something out of the hat versus Lamar Jackson there. But my lock of the week is going to be the Texans +1 at home. I love going home teams that are dogs.
That's so funny because I don't want to fade you. My lock of the week, I literally have it written down here, was Bills -1 at Texans. So that's so funny. That is hilarious. Go. Yeah, so I'm not going to take that one, even though, I don't know. That's going to be a hell of a game. That's basically just even up money. You got to go money line either way on that game. I am going to go then. I'm going to go. I mean, it's just, I had this talk with someone. It was just like, Kansas City, like, how do you not just, if you have the cheddar to do it, just take out the points and just bet them money line every game because they're going to win. Like, they're playing the Saints on Monday night. That's at home. They're -5 and a hook, Auzzo. I think I would just take the money line right on that, take the points out of it. If you trust your chin and you grab your sack a little bit, New Orleans, they're 2-2. They've kind of just been trucking along a little bit. Patty Mahomes, I think he's played decent to this point. I think he's been fair. But if you're looking at a game just in terms of at Arrowhead Stadium, Patty Mahomes versus Derek Carr, I am taking Patrick Mahomes every day of the week, twice on Sunday and 3 times on a Monday. So I am going to go with that as my lock of the week. I think just that game, there ain't no way the Chiefs lose. But, hey, we might be sitting here again next week and be like, Jesus, how did the Saints pull that one off? But that is my lock of the week. Last week, obviously, I took Joey Burrow against Drew Dalton. I just thought there was no way that the Bengals were going to start off 0-4. So they got that done, Auzzo. I don't know. Am I crazy to say that just the NFL overall product is a little down or just a little I don't know. I just think it's like, or is it just a me thing? Like, are you still enjoying watching football every Sunday, getting on the couch, having, a couple beers, hanging out? Like, obviously last week was nasty because it's our two teams. We got a bottle of Caymus on it. So maybe I just got to start throwing more action around on a Sunday to kind of just get me a little tingly down there because for whatever reason, this year just seems like maybe the NFL is, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe I just miss hockey. I don't know. Maybe I'm just one guy.
You might be. I mean, I think this NFL season, I mean, well, I'm also biased because I thought the Vikings would be 0-4 right now, and they're 4-0. So I'm a little involved in the season right now. But around this time, we're coming up on week 5. Right after week 5, week 6, it starts to like, okay, the good teams, the bad teams. And then there's not really any good games going on because you kind of know who's going to win. So these are kind of you still don't really know what the team is yet. So I'm still involved. But what I like to do, Jordo, instead of betting the house and giving my money to a bookie or some sports book, I find the line and then I go into my group chat and I go, hey, I want this team -3.5. Does anyone want to go me? Because if I lose some money, I'd rather give it to my buddy rather than ESPN Sportbook or DraftKings. You know what I mean? And it makes it a little more fun, like to watch the game actually, because these lines they're setting on these games, even if it's college football, I don't know how they come up with the lines. And I've mentioned this before, but it's insane. They always end up like just so close to what it actually ends up being. So
yeah, that's why I just think they know way more than what we know. And that's why I just think even taking the points out of it, if you're going to be going against a sports book or a bookie, just take them out of it if you're confident in your team. Now, listen, I don't know the science behind that because I'm just a guy over here just talking out of my ass. But I think that might be a play where you just take the points out of it, trust your chin, grab your sack, and let her buck titty. But I think just in terms of the NFL, this is my only thing, Auzzo, and it's probably with every sport, but it seems to be more prevalent in the NFL every year. It's like, how many of these teams are actually trying to win? Is it 10? Is it 12? I just think the same teams every year are just fucking dog shit, where I think in other sports, as you saw in the NBA last year, a lot of non-traditional markets, or at least in the playoffs, I think you see in the NHL in terms of some more turnover. I don't know. To me, it just seems like how many teams are actually going for it versus just having Trevor Lawrence snap it around for you, or Andrew Dalton, or maybe that's just, a case of not having, too many elite quarterbacks. I don't know, man.
Well, I think there are some teams and organizations and franchises in all sports that actually have no interest in trying to win the championship of their league. They're just there to collect the revenue because at the end of the day, their team is a business that makes money. And if they're making money, who cares if they win a Super Bowl or Stanley Cup or whatever? I mean, you look at none of us know, like, obviously you look at their salary cap. Are they spending money? Okay, great. They're spending money. That's one thing that goes into it, Jordo. Some of these football teams, they have a shitty recruiting. They have a shitty, scouting staff. They have shitty, facilities. They make their players pay for food at the facility. They make them put quarters into a vending machine to get like a pop-out or a Gatorade. It's like, and then other franchises and organizations are giving that stuff for free. They've got people catering to them. Free agents want to sign there. The players feel better because they're getting treated better. And those are all the things that none of us see. So I think some of these fans don't even know that their team is not even trying to win the championship. And they've been wearing the colors for 30 years, wanting them to win the championship so bad. And their owner hasn't even made a single attempt at winning a championship. He doesn't care. He's making so much money. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, it's like that one Indian or Saudi dude with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, he probably knows football, but I'll tell you one owner, Ozzy, that's trying to win and just can't, is Gerald Jones, the former Arkansas Razorback. I mean, this guy, talk about a guy. Let's go to Chris Collins, or here's a guy. Like, this guy is landing his chopper on the practice field. He's got, just his hand in every basket of that organization. Talk about micromanaging your team, your organization, your business enterprise to a T, Auzzo. That's just year after year. How about them Cowboys? I just think there's no way until Gerald Jones decides to go 6 feet under. There's no way that team wins. I mean, the last time they won, what was it, Jimmy Johnson? They didn't even give him credit for winning those championships. Jimmy ended up walking away because he couldn't stand Jerry. He's just like, fuck you. And then it took like 25, 30 years for Jerry to actually put Jimmy Johnson into the Hall of Fame with the Cowboys. Like, that's just crazy to me. So that guy, talk about a guy.
Yeah, that guy's a legend, I think. That's the way it should be. I like Mark Cuban. Like I'm not a huge Mark Cuban fan. I think he's kind of an idiot sometimes, but
Yep.
I like the way he runs Dallas. The Mavericks are used to. I guess he sold off some shares, but he's involved. Like some of the owners are just like, "Hey, GM, coach, handle it. Good luck. We'll see you later. Like I'm gonna go sit on my yacht, watch you guys games, whatever." I like these owners that are involved. Now, sometimes it's not good because they're idiots, like Jerry Jones. Keeping around Mike McCarthy, keeping around Jason Garrett for so long. Like, are you buddies with these guys, Jerry, or do you want to win a Super Bowl? Maybe these guys aren't the answer and you should move on, because I know you're buddies with them and that's why he's still got a job. But if you want to win a Super Bowl, you need a new coach, buddy. So let's get this going.
Yeah, 100%. You make a good point. Like if we were owners of a team in any sport, even if it was a fucking North American Hockey League team, I'd want my face and chin out there knowing that, the boys, I want to take care of them, get the best stuff, the product on the field is good. You want to win. So you make a good point there. I'm just trying to think of like who the most in-your-face owner in hockey would be. Would it be probably the guy Bill Foley in Vegas? Probably just coming into the league,
there
putting
ain't
his
many
nutsack on the table.
Yeah.
I
feel like you don't hear about too many NHL owners. They
no, you don't.
Stay out of it.
Yeah, like Jacobs in Boston, he's kind of behind the scenes. I would probably say that Foley in Vegas. He's kind of coming in and just, big swinging dick. So, Auzzo, that is our NFL Week 5 locks. Let's move over to some news. Well, out of Minnesota. Let's move over to the hardwood quickly. Coming out of the Minnesota Timber Puppies a couple days ago, Auzzo, Carl Anthony Towns, a.k.a. Carl Anthony Faded. One of Minnesota's longest tenured players, I believe the longest tenured player currently, was traded to the New York Knickerbockers, and that came along the side of, coming back to Minnesota was Julius Randle, Dominic DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick, and I think there was a couple other details. Sitting there as a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, Auzzo, what do you think of this trade? What do you make of it? Fuck, man. Cat, that's a big loss. I mean, I know DiVincenzo can shoot it from the corner. Randall's a solid complementary player. I don't know if he starts. I don't know if he comes off the bench. But anytime you lose a 7-footer that can shoot a 3-ball, I think that sets you back pretty good. And I honestly don't think they got that much in return. Like, they kind of got fleeced when looking at this.
It was, if you're looking at this trade from, now look at me talking basketball, but I'm going off of what, my friends and what I've heard from experts talk about. And I did watch the T-Wolves last year a little bit, so I kind of know how Cat. It doesn't bother me one bit. Cat costs a lot of money, Jordo. Yep. And to me, when I watched playoffs last year, he's not a guy who's going to win you his title. I don't think he is. And if you disperse that money around, now I think this is a play to ultimately hand the keys to the city to Ant Edwards, and this frees up some space. Julius Randle's got 1 year left on his contract. He'll be gone after next year. They get a first-round pick and some money. So I think they're riding Naz Reid now. They're going to give him a bigger role. And, I mean, I like it for the future. I don't think their chances next year are better now. I think they're worse. But for the future, I think this really shows that the Vikings are really putting all of their chips into Anthony Edwards' basket. And they're hoping he brings them to a championship, because at the end of the day, I think when I watch Ant as he progresses in the league, he is the type of guy who could be like a Michael Jordan, who could kind of put a team on his back and ultimately win the NBA Finals in the future. And I think that's what the play was. Like, they're just like, hey, Cat, really good player. We love you, but with your contract and how long you're going to be here, we need to get this off the books, because Ant's going to be the one to bring us to the title. And I think that's what they did. So I respect it.
Yeah. My only thing is, so if Cat doesn't want to be there, obviously you got to move him out. And the NBA is basically, you just go up to your coach and GM and say, I want out of your fella. But going back to the makeup of the team, so say you clear up that cap space, you get Anthony Edwards locked up long-term on a max bag. Who are you going to go grab in free agency? Because Minnesota is not the easiest place to recruit a guy to come. Now you have to overpay, and you'd honestly probably have to get him through a trade. Now, who do you go get? Because I don't know if Julius Randle and Naz Reid are the 1-2 punch Twin Towers wise. You have DiVincenzo. He's a good complementary player. He's a good 3-ball guy. He's similar to a guy like a Duncan Robinson who can shoot it pretty good from the corner, spot up shooter. His feet defensively, kind of similar to Robinson, not perfect back there. So it's like, yeah, you want to lock up Anthony Edwards, but at the same time, if you have that cap space, who are you going to grab? That's my only thing. That's my only worry. Now, could you have made Cat kind of just grind it out for another year and maybe you go to the championship and you see what happens? Because they did show a lot of promise last year, especially. But I don't know, Auzzo. I just think from two hockey guys talking basketball, I don't know, man. I don't know if I love that, what the return was. I would have liked to seen a little more, maybe grabbed a little bit more meat off that bone because, man, Cat, what he didn't do in the playoffs last year and maybe his head wasn't in it, he's still a hell of a player, man, and he could be a very good number 2 to Anthony Edwards. Like you need someone at least of that caliber to support Anthony Edwards if you're going to make a run for the chip.
Yeah, you do. And Cat is unbelievable. I'm not, he's incredible. I know he said he's the best big man shooter there is, and people are like, oh well, look at Dirk, but Cat is up there with the best big man shooter there is. He's unbelievable. I think, Jordo, you talk about how is Minnesota going to recruit a guy in free agency, which is completely Minnesota's problem. Like in the NBA, you need free agents to come. I think they're just riverboat gambling and thinking someone big will want to sign with the Minnesota Timberwolves because Ant is on the team and no other reason. Maybe this is a play to get Kevin Durant. I don't know, because they were vibing on that Olympic team. That's a speculation, I guess, but I think they just put all their chips on Ant and just like, hey, it's your team. Let's see what happens now, buddy.
Yeah, Johnny Chan all in. Push the chips to the middle, put the earbuds in and see what happens. But let's stay in the same state, Auzzo, but let's slide it over to Dinkytown. Let's go over to Gopher hockey. We're going to talk a little college hockey. Obviously, Jake Schmaltz on last week and Greg Powers on this week, head coach of the ASU Sun Devils, and a little bit of our college hockey preview for the season. Those guys are just getting going. But news out of Minnesota, news out of Bob Motzko's Gophers. Bobby Furta, formerly was a coach at St. Cloud State. We played against him for years over there, made his way over to, Dinkytown, and is now coaching out of Mariucci. Auzzo, they named 4 C's in terms of captains this year. They just came out with this today. We're recording on Wednesday night. 4 captains, fella, and I think they had 2 A's or maybe 3 A's. What are we doing here?
What?
We need a captain on every line? Is this just like a participation medal? 4 captains? How fucking soft are you going to be? I'm always going to chirp Minnesota. I'm going to find any way to fucking chirp these guys because you know what? I bleed fucking green, fella, and I've always hated the Gophers, and I will be still passionate and vocal about that. But 4 C's? Dude, you don't have 4 fucking captains, and even if you did, that is so, can I even say that? It's gay. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I love Bobby Motzko as a coach. I love that guy. See him around town, actually. Great dude. But this is Minnesota. I don't think he would have done something like this at St. Cloud. I don't know, but 4 C's? Are you really telling me these guys, 4 of these guys couldn't go on with their college career if they didn't have the C on their chest? I mean, how
vanilla is that?
4 head coaches? Who's going to be making the calls? Can you not, I don't know. That's just fucking, and they actually have A's too. So they have 8 captains. Just might as well give every player on the team a fucking letter then. So
you basically had a 4-way tie for your captain is what you're telling me, because clearly there wasn't one guy that could just wear it. So you had 4. So basically you have 6 assistants is what you have. Maybe just name everyone assistant at the start of the year, go 3 assistants at home, 3 on the road. And then if one guy rises to the occasion when times get hard, when you got to grab your sack and say, you know what, we need a win here. Who's going to push us over the finish line? Who is at the head of the snake? Who is our guy? Maybe you find that out a little further down the line. So you punt it to maybe November. Maybe December. And then that way you're 10 games in and you're like, oh, all right, Jimmy Tuggerud is now our captain. I don't get it, Auzzo. If there's not one clear guy, which clearly there isn't, because he got 4. So why don't you just decide at a later date, hey, we've named this guy as our captain. After 5 games, he showed us you know what? He is the C. And then we rock, 5 or 6 assistants. I have no problem with that. I still think that's a little vanilla. A lot of teams do it just to kind of put A on a senior's chest. But I just don't know, man. 4 captains in college hockey. Like, dude, this isn't Eden Prairie fucking high school here.
No. Either way you spin it, Jordo, it doesn't look good, okay? You either got four C's because you don't have a clear-cut captain, or, which is bad, you want that clear-cut captain, or you got 4 guys who would go on a pissy fit and cry all season because they don't have a C on their chest, which is the worst of the 2 options. They both ain't great.
Yeah, it's probably both, honestly. It's probably both. It's probably they don't have a C, and they also have 4 guys that if they didn't have the C, they're calling their agent, and they actually might leave. They might actually sign. They'd be like, oh, fuck, I got to leave now. I'm not the captain. So, yeah, that is something that we'll monitor throughout the season. One thing I wanted to touch on, too, is that Pitlick kid in college hockey. He left Minnesota, and I think he's a pretty good player. I mean, listen, I don't scout a ton of college hockey. I like watching North Dakota, obviously, but I think that was pretty significant news. That kid left pretty late, mid-September, to go to Minnesota State Mankato and go play for Luke Strand, who I know really well, and Troy Ward. So, number one, how did they get that guy to leave? He was enrolled for school at the time, and he was probably, obviously doing the summer training, going through the workouts, the bag skates. How did they just pull him out of Minnesota? Has there been any word around that, Auzzo?
I've heard one thing. I can't confirm if it's true. I'll share it. It's all speculation.
Yeah, go into the rumor mill.
I'll go into the rumor mill. I don't know if any of this is true. It could be completely false. But what I heard was he was planning on signing, I think, come this fall, and he wasn't taking summer classes or something. Wasn't what he didn't line himself up to take classes at the U of M. So in the fall, so he thought he was going to sign, didn't like the offers or whatever happened, had to come back to school in Minnesota. Was like, well, you're not enrolled in classes. Like, you can't play here now. Like, you're done. Yeah. So I think Mankato was able to get him enrolled in classes, and that's why he went there. Now that's what I'm hearing.
Right.
I don't know if it's true, but
that's just the rumor mill, folks. That's the rumor mill.
It could be true, I guess. We'll find out. You'd like to think we'll find out pretty shortly here.
Yeah, confirmed, unconfirmed, not booked, still looking to book. It's curious, though. I'm just curious because he's a hell of a player, and obviously Mankato just kind of sweeps in and scoops him up with just a last-second grab. I mean,
great pick by them.
That's a hell of a pickup. Talk about hitting the waiver wire in college hockey and picking up a big-time player, especially a really good college player. In North Dakota, I think, plays them second week, maybe third week in, and Mankato is going to be a great test. They got a good team. They got a good coaching staff there. So shout out to Luke Strand. Awesome dude. Obviously, Strander was the guy that talked to me about at an early age of Jay Swish. We've had it as a People's Insider term of the week. Fishing off the same pier. Never fish off the same pier, folks. There's a lot of fish out there. You don't want to get those poles tangled up, Auzzo?
Yeah, that's an unbelievable line.
So that's Coach Strand and also Troy Ward. Shout out to Wardo, one of the all-time beauties. Taught me a lot about the game and still keep in touch with him. So, Auzzo, we got North Dakota. We mentioned hosting Augustana. That's a 1-game shot. ASU, Greg Powers will join the show later. Going to the chin of Air Force again, Colorado Springs. So we'll be monitoring college hockey. We love it. We will be up at Joe Black's. That is official for the BU series. October 26th, folks, we're hosting a Hockey Night in Scottsdale Live in 5 crossover show. We did it last year during the Gopher series. Had a hell of a time. 300-odd people came out. So hopefully a good turnout this year. That'll be at 4 o'clock, I think, on Saturday, Auzzo. We're still working out the kinks of that. But Joe Black's, October 26th, Hockey Night in Scottsdale. Auzzo, myself, the Heat Daddy, all in the mix. Hopefully a couple special guests we can get lined up in terms of former Sioux players. We're going to have a hell of a time. Going to go to the game, get drunk after. So if you're in town, come say what up. It'll be a free show. We're putting it on for the people. It's going to be an awesome time. I love going to Joe Black's. Obviously, we love being up there in Grand Forks. So can't wait for that. Be on the look for the official announcement, but just wanted to say something on that front. Auzzo, going over to the National Hockey League. Going to talk about some just favorites. for the Norris Stanley Cup MVP, maybe a sneaky team you have for winning a cup or maybe just making the playoffs. So National Hockey League starting up in a couple days here. I will be boots on the ground in Utah next Tuesday night for opening night for the Utah Hockey Club hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. So fired up for that, but let's get to some NHL talk here, Auzzo. We did a little preview on it earlier, but we're getting to the regular season now, into the swing of things. We'll finally have hockey to talk about. I wanted to ask you, and just started off at the top, just futures bets here, because we know guys that just like to sprinkle a little action and people excited. I think everyone knows kind of the good teams, the players, and breakdowns, this and that. You can find different things, but we like to spice it up over here and just look ahead. And maybe who you're looking at for your Stanley Cup favorite sitting on here on October 2nd. Like, do you have one team that you're like, you know what, if I got them at decent odds, I would throw some cheddar on it?
Yeah, I think I got one team that I wouldn't take Edmonton because they probably have to, not great odds if you bet them because they probably got to be the favorite, I would say. But I'm going to go with Vancouver. I liked what they brought last year. They had some injuries in playoffs. If they are healthy, I think they do have a team. They put together a team that could get there, and they're all coming up on their kind of primes, coming together at the right time. So I think this is kind of the year they need to get it done. So I don't know what the odds are on those guys, but I think that would be a good bet because they do have a chance to win it. Now, a team that you might not think might make the playoffs, Jordo, and hasn't made the playoffs in a little while, I like this Ottawa Senators roster. I feel like they gotta break through at some point. I don't know if they're gonna go through a Buffalo Sabres, but it just feels like to me like these Ottawa guys, they've got some really good young guys. Parlay Pinto's in there. I love that guy. They got Jake Sanderson. They've got Claude Giroux. I know he's on the, he's older now, but they've got some players on that team, man. So
yeah, and they got a hell of a captain there. Brady Tkachuk, obviously a guy
is Perron there too?
Yeah, David Perron, a hell of a pickup. And they got a new coach there. Like, there's new blood in Ottawa. It's a good team.
Yeah.
They had a lot of sneaky pickups. Obviously, they lose a guy like Jake Chicky Parm Chikrin, the Liver King there. He goes to Washington. But if you're looking at that back end, you got Chabot, you got Jake Sanderson, who has just been unbelievable in preseason. They're talking about him in camp. Greener every day is mentioning how good this guy looks. And another guy they got, a nice little pickup as a 5'6" defenseman who skates like the wind, and Nick Jensen. Like, that's a guy, another good right shot proven player. Like, I really like their ads. If they can get off to a good start, they've always had in the last 2 years just such awful starts.
I know.
So it's like, if they could get off to a decent start, I do like that pick. Parlay Pinto, he's due for a big year. He's looking good. He's kind of all over the place. So, yeah, man, I like that team. I think they could do some damage. I like your pick there. If I'm looking at mine, and if Val Nichushkin can stay out of Malibu passages, I'm not saying that to be joking. I'm just saying hopefully he's okay. I like Colorado. I just think what they have in that middle six, Miles Wood, guys like Ross Colton, who's a proven winner, and then you parlay that into with Val Nichushkin healthy, hopefully, and playing and happy. Gabe Landeskog maybe coming back. Nate McKinnon. I mean, you got Makar back there. I mean, if their goalie can just stop a beach ball, I really like the makeup of that team. And especially last year, Auzzo, losing out only in the second round or whatever it was. You get a team like that coming back, hopefully just ready to get it back after it. McKinnon obviously probably had an unbelievable, insane offseason. We were talking to Spicy Tuna O'Brien a little bit earlier before camp started, just how intense those skates in Halifax are with him and Sid. So I think those guys they're just going to be on another level. They're going to be hungry again. I think they're ready to fight. They're ready to come in. McKinnon won an MVP last year. He wants to repeat that. So that's one team I'm looking at for my Stanley Cup favorite. Another team that I think is a wild card to come in and not win the cup, but hopefully make the playoffs is the Detroit Red Wings. Now, Derek Lalonde, guy that I played with in Green Bay, Patty Kane, Showtime, full year, Vladimir Tarasenko, the Russian sniper coming off his second mug. And you have guys like Andrew Kopp, JT Compher. They have a really good back end. If Husso can stay healthy in net, I think that's a team that Stevie Y has constructed to be at least a team that could maybe sniff out playoffs, if not win a round. I mean, last year they lost out in the last game of the season with Showtime scoring that goal in a shootout. Ultimately, it wasn't enough. It kind of came down to a three-way tie, and they were the odd man out. So I'm looking at a team like Detroit, Auzzo. I don't know how you feel about them. I love Larkin's game.
Yeah.
I love the Lucas Raymond, some of their young studs. Moritz Seider just got the bag as well. So I really like Detroit, and if they can come out of the gates and have a healthy goalie, I mean, they got a lot of proven winners on that team, and Showtime and some of the fellas there. So I just wanted your thoughts on maybe Detroit.
Yeah, you got to think Detroit, a team like Detroit will be better than the Islanders this year. But I like that Detroit team. I mean, I think Patty Kane's still got a lot left in the tank. I think some of their guys are itching to get in the playoffs. I know all those guys want to get in there, and they smelled it last year. I think they will want to try to get that done this year. And you do have to trust in a guy like Stevie Y putting the team together. He's done it before. He's proven. I think he knows what he's doing. I'm going to trust in him. I do think he will. Ultimately, they'll get to the playoffs for sure, I think.
Yeah, I hope they do, because hockey is better when the Detroit Red Wings are good. An original six franchise, that wheel of a jersey, just nasty, and a great barn there in Little Caesars Arena. So hoping and pulling for those guys, Derek Lalonde, all the staff there in Detroit. Auzzo, going to go over to just another question I wanted to ask you. Who do you think takes home the James Norris Trophy? If we're sitting here again in early October, who's one name, obviously, that you think is going to get it done this year? Quinn Hughes last year. McCarr's always in the mix. I don't think it's rocket science, but if you're looking at a name, who are you taking?
Yeah, I think it's Cale Makar. I think he's the best defenseman in the league. I think he, with those guys, they don't always have it in their mind to go out and kind of be as much of a killer as they are after they have some of these seasons. And I feel like Cale Makar had a season last year where he was not his full self, not kind of giving his all like a Nate Dogg per se. But I think Cale Makar will want to come out and get that trophy back. I think he wants to be the best defenseman in the league, and I think he knows he is, and I think he's going to play like it all season long.
Yeah, I think that's tough to argue. I'm on that too. I mean, they quote unquote said he had a down year last year. You're still second in points. I think maybe even first in points per game, just battling a few different injuries. It's tough to bet against that guy. I just think he is on another level, even of guys of Quinn Hughes, who won it last year, Adam Fox, Charlie McAvoy, Victor Hedman, Roman Yossi. Some of these names that you even throw in there, I just think he is just in a league and in a class of his own. If there was a higher level of the National Hockey League, guys like him, McDavid, McKinnon, some of these other guys would be in it. So I had stuff to argue there. How about for the Rocket Richard Trophy? That is obviously for the most goals of the year. Who are you going to take for that, fella? I think I know, but I just want to pick your chin on that one.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be easy again to pick AM34 every year for this trophy. But I'm actually going to go with Leon Draisaitl after he just signed that big contract.
Ooh, wow.
This guy, I do think he wants to be, worth what he's paid, and he is. And I think, he's definitely a guy who will be up there. If not number one, he'll be in the top three, I think. So, and he's playing with a guy like Connor McDavid on that Edmonton team with a ton of skill up front. He'll score a ton of goals. I've got Draisaitl.
I like it. I am going to go with Poppy. Poppy's under was 55 and a hook. And now if that guy can stay healthy, is it crazy to say that that's almost disrespectful? Again, if he stays healthy, he plays all 82. I think he is at least 60 goals. 1 year, I do think he's going to score over 80. So I'm obviously going to stay with AM34. I like that pick, though. Draisaitl, I think 3-time 50-goal scorer, at least twice. So he could easily pop off and get 60 using that old shovel paddle curve he's got, the old fucking pizza shovel. So I like that pick. So how about for your MVP? Who are you going with for that?
Oh, man. It's tough.
I know, because you got, obviously, McDusty. You got Kucherov, who's probably going to put up close to 120 or 130 or whatever, 140.
It's honestly tough for me not to go with Nate Dogg, knowing how hard that guy works at hockey, how hungry he is. I don't think he cares one bit that he won the MVP last year. He wants a fucking another one. I might go back-to-back Nate Dogg MVPs.
How crazy would that be? Because that is a guy that is a complete psychomaniac. Like,
oh yeah.
He's one of those guys that you would even maybe in the and I say this with the utmost respect, you would question maybe is he on the spectrum because how hard he works? Does he get tired? And when he comes down with that force of just like galloping through the neutral zone, crossing over at like it's not even a fast pace, Auzzo. It's a violent pace. He's like jumping through the neutral zone like a goddamn Clydesdale coming down the stretch at the Preakness. He is just humming. And then when he gets mad and he starts taking guys' heads off, like that's another level of psycho. He's on the bike afterwards. I think he's, making sure his teammates are eating right. He's not cheating on anything. He's not cheating on his girl. He's not cheating on his meals. Like this guy just seems like a full-on fucking psycho, man. And I've heard guys that have played in Colorado is he sets the bar. And the bar is the Nate Dogg level. And if you don't play somewhere just under that threshold of how you take care of yourself and how you manage what you're going to give to this team, well, you're out the door.
Yeah, he doesn't want you on the team. He's the NHL's modern day Kobe Bryant to the NBA. Yep. I think he is. Like, he holds his teammates accountable. He not only wants to eat healthy himself, he makes sure his fucking teammates eat healthy and they're treating their bodies well because he knows he's on the ice with them and he wants to win the goddamn hockey game. You got to love it.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. He is the modern day Mamba. He is the Mamba of the ice. So I like that pick. It's tough to bet against him. I had that too, but just another name. Kucherov can put up 150 points or something crazy. They'll finally give it to the Russian. Just, a little Western bias on that front in terms of, I think last year, I know Nate McKinnon is unbelievable, but Kuch, what he did and what he did for that team, I just thought in terms of an actual most valuable player to your team, I thought Kuch was that one seed. So Auzzo, that was our NHL talk. Obviously, a lot of different stories around the league. Hopefully, Macklin Fellabrini can get healthy. Connor Bedard, can he tuck 40 goals? You got stories like Ovi going to be able to break the record. So a lot of different things around the league. Excited for it to start. It's a marathon, boys. Buckle up. It's 82. Holy fuck. Put the work boots on. My God. Especially after camp, you're just like, ooh. Oh. We got to gear up here.
We got 82 more of these, eh?
We got 82, and then we might have another 22, 25. It's
you better like hockey, fella.
You better like the game. So you better love the game. You better not be like Trevor Lawrence. Auzzo, let's slide over to the one hitter of the week, and that is as a dude, and dudes like us and dudes in general who we hang out with don't particularly shop a ton. You're not going out of the Mall of America. You're not going into a Nordstrom once a week. You're not just online shopping unless it's like an Instagram ad or something you might see when you're half cocked or half faded. So what I wanted to ask you as a dude in your shoes, are you an online shopper type of guy, or do you like to get boots on the ground and go in the stores and really feel the product, try something on, go around to different places, spend a whole fucking day at a mall and kind of just get lost that way and see what you come with it?
Yeah, no, I'm honestly not an online shopper, but I ain't an in-person shopper either. To me, Jordo, there isn't anything worse than walking around a mall trying to find something you like. And the worst part, it actually wouldn't be bad for me if there's no workers in any of these stores. I don't need your fucking help picking out a shirt, buddy. Just let me walk around. Don't ask if I need help. Yes, I am okay. No, I do not need your help. I do not need you telling me what would look good on me because I don't care what you think looks good on me. I just want to look through this stuff, try to find something quick, maybe something cool, and pick it out. That's why I'm honestly going. I don't like the salespeople trying to sell me on shit. It's like, hey, try this on. This might look good on you. It's like, buddy, I don't want to try that on, man. I've already been here for 20 minutes. I gotta get out of here. So, yeah, I think it is nice though being in person, being able to tell if it fits because all these clothing items they got different fits. You don't know if it's gonna fit well. Especially if you got like a smaller torso and longer legs like me. Some things fit a little weird, but I'm going online every time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're sniffing around, I'm kind of like you. I have shirts that I've had in my closet for over 10 years, and I still don't get anything new. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm on your side in terms of when you go into those stores, and especially if it's like on an off day or you're cruising around the mall and you're with, probably your significant other, and you're probably a little hung. And you're like, dude, just get out of my face. Like, I actually don't want anything. I'm just here trying to kill time. I'm actually getting really dizzy in here right now. And I might have a panic attack because I don't even know what's going on. There's a lot of shit going on. I don't even know why I'm in here right now. And I might need something for a wedding in 4 months, but I'll deal with that the day before because right now I don't care. Just get me out of here. I'll pay to get out of here and I'll pay you to get out of my face because, again, I don't need your help for what you think looks good on me. I don't wear North Face, bro. I don't wear a Canada Goose. I wear something different, and I don't want to wear a vest. Why would I wear a vest? I don't like Columbia. I'm not fucking the Eddie Bauer guy. What are you talking about, fella? So it's just like, oh, man, it just gets to be the point where it's just like you just want to just get the fuck out of there, and you end up just running out, and you got nothing.
Oh, those sales, I know they got a job to do, and I know it probably works on people, but sometimes those salespeople are why I don't buy anything. I'm like, all right, I'm getting out of here. I can't handle talking to you. Some of them start asking me questions about my life, trying to be friends. It's like, am I at a bar talking to a stranger, having a couple drinks? No, I'm trying to buy a fucking t-shirt. I don't need to make friends with you trying to sell me this t-shirt. And no, you don't need to know what I did last weekend. I don't care what you did either. Quit telling me.
Yeah, like what do we? Why are you asking me what I do for my job? Is this my day off? What are you doing here? What do you need? It's like, buddy, I am never going to see you again. And respectfully, again, I actually came to this store. I don't even know why I'm here right now. I want to leave. You know what I mean? I just want to walk around, see some stuff, and not talk to anybody. I'm minding my own business. So, yeah, that's always funny. It's yeah. I mean, I guess online I'd be the same way, but it's like I usually don't pull the trigger unless it's just like something funny. It's like, I see a shirt from Nightcap and it says, you know, that's my Michelle, or Nightcap Film Department 69, and it pops up as an ad. I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny. I got to get that. So
I feel like a shirt you can buy online because usually it fits good. It's like I can't really buy jeans online because I need to go into the store and I need to see how they fit. But shirts, like I got to buy those online, especially, I mean, they're going to fit normal regardless, XL, large, whatever. Like I'm not a girl. I don't wear 38R, B, whatever they fucking wear. All their different sizes. Like I don't even know what they're doing with that shit.
Yeah, it's like 38 BBL RTY. It's like, why does this thing have a barcode on it? What is going on? Do you have to scan this in? Is this a patent number? What is this? Is that just for your outhouse or what's going on? So I'm with you, Auzzo. Let's move on to the People's Insider Term of the Week. And the People's Insider Term of the Week, Auzzo, is a hockey term that we use for the guy that is kind of just not getting played. He's in the middle of the bench, and he hasn't had a shift maybe I would say, a long time. Maybe a period, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe the coach just shut him down for the game because he's playing that shitty. Maybe it was -3 in his first 3 shifts, and he says, you know what, you're going to take a seat right next to me, fella. And you look at him, and you're like, holy fuck. You see Johnny over there? Like, yeah, he hasn't had a shift in, I think, since the second period. Yeah, holy shit. He looks like a grocery stick. So that's the grocery stick. And that's the guy that divides the defenseman between the defensive zone or the defensive end and the forward end. So it's the guy right down the middle of the ice, just like a grocery stick, or right down the middle of the bench. And he's the guy that becomes the grocery stick that separates you from the forwards and the defenseman. So you always know if that guy is benched. It actually is kind of nice because you go for a change, you know what side of the guys to change on. You're like, oh, fuck, there's the grocery stick. There's Johnny sitting in the middle, and he hasn't had a shift in 3 fucking periods. Like, he literally played the first 3 shifts, and we have not seen him since the 55 marker of the game. We're in the 3rd period. He is the grocery stick. So that's when you're in the situation where you just untie your skates, you can take your gloves off, you give the boys water, you got the pom-poms going, but you feel shame. So that's always funny. You're looking at the guy that is in between the forward end and the D end, and he's just sitting there right down the middle like a grocery stick, like that person in front of you at the grocery store. You know, they have all their stuff on the conveyor belt. You throw down the grocery stick. Now you have your stuff. It separates it. So that is the People's Insider Term of the Week, Oz, of the old grocery stick fella. I've been there a few times.
I've been there, more than a few times, in a few different scenarios too, Jordo. There's a few times where I'm actually thankful to be where I'm at as the grocery stick, and that is when it goes to overtime, and now it's 3-on-3. Okay, Auzzo, no hands, shut down a fenceman, grocery stick. All right. That's when I take off, I untie my skates. I'm like, fuck, my work here is done, boys. I've done my job. Skill guys, Go finish her off for me. I'll cheer you on. Like, I got my smile on. Like, I can't get any more dashes. And then I've also been that grocery stick after a pizza up the middle and a dash one. And that's when it's not so fun, Jordo. That's when it's like,
no,
fuck,
it's
now
not.
I feel like an idiot.
It's kind of nice. I mean, you want to play in 3-on-3, but just knowing maybe your night's over, you can just kick the feet up, especially as a stay-at-home defenseman. You're just kind of hanging out. And then a guy takes a penalty, and you're like, Jesus, come on, man. I was thinking about untying my skates. I've been thinking about the first round of beers at the bar afterwards. I've been thinking about just having one in the locker room, even maybe going in the sauna with a beer, trying to get that, cheated it a little bit, the buzz in terms of get that sauna beer going. So, yeah, you make a good point. Fuck, man. It's so funny when you're just that grocery stick sitting there and you just feel like a piece of shit. It's like you wouldn't want to be anywhere. Like, you'd rather be anywhere else but just sitting in the middle of the bench. Like, dude, can I just go sit in the locker room? Like, why am I even out here right now?
Make me undress. I do not want to be on this bench right now. I'm getting skates in my face. I'm -2, 3 turnovers. Not playing the rest of the night. Coach hates me.
Yeah.
Just get me off this bench.
Wife's bitching, we're moving every other week. I'm getting called up, sent down. Wife hates me. Kids are crying in the stands. Coach is probably going to trade me. The GM is telling everyone I'm a pussy. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? So that is the people's term of the week. Auzzo, nail gun of the week. There wasn't a ton of nail guns out there. I mean, obviously a lot of guys chucking lefts and rights in the preseason. You've seen a lot of tilts. It's good to see. Maybe shorten it up so guys can save those bombs for the regular season. But you can go that way with it in terms of, just a lot of lefts, a lot of rights, a lot of chins being tested. I had for my nail gun of the week, and it's more so just a funny little thing, just because I just think it so nails that his mindset has brought him to this point of just an unbelievable outlook of the game, bringing humor year in, year after. And he just has such a genuine just approach to the game and just a way to lighten up fans, and not only fans, but people involved with the team. And that is Marc-Andre Fleury, a.k.a. Marc-Andre Ferda, out of the Minnesota Wild, who a lot of people are calling the mid-Minnesota Wild. Anyways, in a preseason game the other night, he joined the ice crew, and he had a shovel, and he had a wig on. Also, you know how much I love wigs. But he was out there shoveling snow around the ice, putting it in the old garbage can, the old industrial-sized garbage can. He just looked cool. Smile, those big old teeth Flower has.
He did.
Thought it was so cool, and how much fun he was having. So I had Marc-Andre Fleury for just being a nail gun in the sense of just bringing a lot of life and energy to all of hockey fans everywhere.
Guy still loves the game. It's unbelievable to see. I'm jealous of him. I definitely didn't have that same passion for hockey as he does. So, yeah,
especially at 40-odd years old, that's crazy.
Playing goalie too. I mean, it's nuts. He's an unbelievable. He's a nail gun. I'll agree with that. Jordo, mine plays for the New York Mets. We got playoff baseball back. I don't watch baseball all year until the playoffs are here. I actually think playoff baseball is unbelievable. Every pitch matters so much. It's awesome. The Mets played the Atlanta Braves to get into the playoffs on Monday, I believe, and Francisco Lindor hit a walk-off home run to go up 8-7 to bring the Mets to the playoffs. Nothing better than a walk-off. It's so nails, just fucking bam. Run around the bases. You got a champagne shower after. It was actually funny, Jordo. They played a doubleheader against the Braves, the Mets did, and the first team to win is in, and then the second team, whoever wins, if the Braves win the second game, they're in. So they play both these games. Mets win first game, Braves win the next game because Mets were just swinging at everything. They wanted the game to be over because they had to wait for their champagne shower after that second game. In baseball, whenever you make the playoffs, you get a champagne shower, you party. So both these teams after the day, both won and lost one game. They're in the locker room just fucking champagne showering. It's unbelievable.
That is hilarious. And Francisco Lindor has been a hell of a player, folks, for a long time. And nothing like a walk-off, Auzzo. Nothing like a walk-off. That's like leaving the bar with the hottest chick in the bar and you saying goodbye to your buddies. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, and no one has an invite. So, yeah, that was crazy to see. One last thing I just want to touch on just with baseball, and I'm with you. I don't watch a ton, but playoff baseball is great. But the one funny stat out of baseball this year for me was the Chicago White Sox, who want a new stadium, because I mean it's in the hood in the South Side of Chicago, but they want a new stadium and they want obviously city funded money. They just lost 121 games out of 162. It was a record. That is crazy to me. That is so crazy. 121. What are you thinking if you're on that team? It's like, fuck.
How do you show up to those games, man?
Like, what? That is insane to me. 121 losses? Yeah, we got a lot of losses. Like, Jesus, that's like straight out of Slapshot. That's crazy.
Like the Cleveland Indians on Major League.
Yeah, that was just an insane stat that stood out to me. So I just wanted to give some love to the Southsiders. And if you're a fan of that team, holy fuck. I hope you're on the whiskey. I hope it's a 4-finger pour and you're drinking your sorrows away. So, Auzzo, that was the pre-show over here at Live in 5. Let's send it over to ASU Sun Devil head hockey coach, head honcho, the founder of ASU Hockey, Greg Powers, a.k.a. GP. One of the good guys, Auzzo. We had a great chat with Coach, obviously joining the NCHC this year. Talked a little bit about the UND series coming up in January. So that's going to be great at the iconic Mullett Arena. Hopefully you can actually get the fellas some tickets too, because we're going to hold them to that. Yeah,
that'd be nice. And yeah, great dude. Unbelievable interview. I thought he was, it was awesome to talk with him.
Yeah, it was cool. And I think the folks will really enjoy this one. So fella, Crispy Rice, tape to tape with you. Never have to look. D to D. Let's find the middle. That was episode number 57, the pre-show on the goddamn chin. Woo!
Now introducing from the mean streets of Indianapolis, Indiana. Folks, that is not French Lick where Larry Bird is from. This is the founding father of ASU hockey, putting, well, college hockey on the map. The head honcho, the boss man of ASU Sun Devil hockey. Folks, without further ado, please welcome Greg Powers to the Live in 5 podcast. My friend, how you doing? Thanks for joining the fellows over here at Live in 5. It's good to see you. I saw you, I think, the last time we were having a coffee over at Global Ambassador, so it's good to see you. How the boys doing, first and foremost, over there at ASU as the season gets going?
First, thanks for having me on, Swish, Gage. It's great to be on your show. You guys are awesome. Boys are doing great. They're doing great. We're a little over a week away, and I think every college coach and every college team right now is just excited to start hitting somebody else other than their teammates. So that's kind of the phase we're in, but they're ready to go at Air Force next week, and we're excited to get on the road and get up there and play.
And obviously, Paul, it's a big season for you guys going into NCHC play. You've obviously taken this program from Oceanside Arena, the humble beginnings at Oceanside Arena, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to just touch on, off the top here, just the state of the team and going into NCHC play, obviously taking it up another notch this year. How are you feeling about that? The coaching staff? I mean, the guys in general just have to be excited. There's got to be just like a new buzz around the team and just, the challenge of, kind of getting into, I guess, a conference like the NCHC, and it's got to be exciting, right?
It's incredibly exciting. I mean, it being an independent, it's kind of, we called it chapter 1 of our program. It was a 9-year chapter with a hybrid year and then 8 years of independent play. It's hard. I mean, you got one weekend you're playing a brand new team like Stonehill. The next weekend you're playing Denver, right? So the peaks and the valleys, the mental preparation, and a different opponent, different style, different officiating from different leagues. It's a difficult thing. There's a reason why in 30 years only one independent's made an NCAA tournament. It's tough, and then you get to the end of the season and maybe you're not quite there and you're not quite ranked high enough, but your expectations were to get in, which is where we are now. And boy, it's tough keeping them going. It's tough keeping them motivated when you got 8 games against other independents and you're not going to get in. So now, knowing we have that chance at a second life no matter what, it's exciting. Our guys are pumped for it, and just to be able to compete for a championship and be able to recruit kids, because that's what kids want. They want to play for championships. It's raised the level of our program in so many ways.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think even now with the Coyotes being gone, you guys being the biggest show in town, I even think that just kind of increases the buzz around the Valley, that is Scottsdale, Phoenix, the surrounding areas in terms of hockey fans coming down to, like I call it, the iconic Mullett Arena. And you pair that with a great student section, obviously a good club. And Powers, I just wanted to touch on like some of the guys, you kind of recruited like off the first hop of things of when you were kind of making that transition from, club hockey, leaving Oceanside, getting the arena built. Like, who are some of those names that you can kind of say like that kind of kicked off the program and almost kind of put you a little bit further down the path? Was it a guy like Joey DeCord? Was it, Donor for the last few years? Was it one of my favorites of all time that we were talking about before the show, Johnny Walker, a.k.a. Johnny Puck? So who are some of these guys where you're like, okay, we got this guy. Now he brings a little bit more buzz to the team, and we can kind of just keep, kicking this thing down the road a little bit. And ultimately, you got the Mullett Arena, you're in the NCHC. So is there like one or two names there that kind of pop out?
Yeah, a great trivia question that not a lot of people know. The first ever official visit to ASU that we ever flew a kid in as soon as we announced we were NCAA was Ryan Lomberg.
No
Obviously,
way.
Lomberg didn't end up coming, but he was the first kid.
Out of Muskegon.
He was actually he was in Youngstown at the time, and he went to Maine, and then he left Maine, went back to the USHL, ended up not going to college, and it worked out for him obviously. But the second official visit was Joey DeCord, and Joey committed to us before we ever played an NCAA game. We knew he was athletic. We knew he could play the puck incredibly well. And he saw our mantra here is be the tradition. And that's really what Joey bought into. He was from a hockey hotbed in Boston and had a bunch of options. And he saw the opportunity to come here, set a standard, and potentially be, a founding father and a legend. And that's exactly what he is. And he's a year away from getting a big contract and really establish himself as a starter in the NHL. So he's really the first big kid that we had in, and he committed with nothing, without a game played, without a rink, without a conference, without anything. I was the only coach on staff at the time. So it was a huge risk that he took buying into the vision that we had, and it really paid off for him. But obviously, Josh Doan, he should start in the NHL this year. Brinson Pashnuk's one that gets lost in the shuffle. He's a kid that came here out of Bonnyville and signed an NHL contract, played in the NHL. Unfortunately, caught celiac disease and kind of derailed his career. But so many kids. And then obviously, last but not least, certainly Johnny Walker, our all-time leader in points, and just a kid I'm close to this day. He's always around the rink. He's hung him up, and now he's getting into coaching. He's going to be a really good coach. His personality is incredible, and he's a kid that really helped put us on the map.
Yeah, I just remember like when I was in the American League or in St. Louis a little bit, and I was hearing about ASU. Obviously, Nick was playing for the Coyotes at the time, and ASU was just getting going in terms of, putting together the D1 program that you guys have now. And it was at the grassroots level. And one of those guys, I think he had a big game. It was, you guys used to play a couple of games a year out in Glendale where the Coyotes used to play. And I remember hearing about Johnny Puck. I think he had a hat trick in like back-to-back games or something out there. I'm like, who is this guy? And is he really calling himself? Who gave him this name? Was it Johnny Hockey 2.0? I mean, God rest Johnny Hockey, the number 1.0. But who is this Johnny Puck kid? Who is this character? Because I heard he was tearing it up not only on the ice, but maybe a little bit off the ice. Like he was just a true beauty, right? So,
yeah,
right. So just one of those all-time, living legend characters. But Greg, I wanted to ask you, going back to, starting off with the program, getting in at the grassroots level, even with the club hockey team out of Oceanside. I mean, that arena was not perfect. Like when you first took the job as a club hockey coach, did you really have the ultimate vision of, okay, I can see where I could take this? Or was it just 1 year at a time and let's build up the club program so it's the best in the country, which you guys were forever?
Yeah, it was never about going Division I. I had my own business. I got roped back into it by a guy by the name of Jeremy Goltz, who was the head coach at the time. He went to Arizona. So he wanted to bring in some ASU blood, somebody that had some passion for the university and program. I actually said no. I didn't think I had time, and we just had our daughter. And my wife was the one that said, you know what, you should probably do it. You should probably do it. It'll keep you sane. I know you miss it, blah, blah, blah. So I got back involved as a volunteer assistant, did it for 2 years. Goltzy runs a huge youth organization. Didn't have time to do both. The players at that time, most of them I had brought in by that point because I just fell in love with the recruiting aspect of it and bringing kids to ASU. And they talked me into coaching. I had no idea what I was doing. I honestly didn't know if I'd be good, bad, or different, but it ended up working out, I think. And then for 5 years, I was the head coach. We went 169-23. We won a national championship, went to 3 Final Fours. We beat Penn State's Division I team, and elevated the awareness of the sport on campus to the point where it happened, and then they, I was lucky enough to have an AD that didn't look at my background, lack of playing in the NHL, lack of playing Division I hockey. He looked at my background as a positive, because we still had so many hurdles to overcome even after we announced it, with no rink, with no conference. So he knew he needed somebody that was going to roll up their sleeves and, have a lot of shit to kind of sift through, which we did, get our house in order. And that's what happened. And here we are.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, Coach, I wanted to ask, I'm just curious because, listeners up north, I think in Minnesota and the Midwest, there isn't really club hockey because they have the Division I teams here. So club hockey down there is serious, and there are serious club hockey, but now you're D1. I wanted to ask, there had to have been some things that were easier and harder about club hockey versus whether it's recruiting or whatever it is. And now you got funding. So coming from club, going to D1, can you name a couple things that are now harder than club hockey, but also easier at the same time?
Yeah, and that's a really good observation, because it's so true, right? And when you're running a club program, you're everything. You wear every hat. You raise money. You order the pizzas. You order the gear. You do everything. You book the travel. So I think that the easiest thing about that level is just there's no expectations, right?
Yeah.
And all I was ever in it for was to give the players a really good experience while they went to Arizona State, right? And it was a great situation because we were getting really, really high-end players. On our last club team, we had 8 kids that were full-time players in the USHL. We were really good. So it wasn't like you said, it's not like club hockey, at wherever. Like there are schools in the United States that take it very serious and actually recruit, and it's real. It's equivalent to like good Division III, right?
For sure.
And so, but what's harder about this level is obviously there's expectations, and you get resources, and you have this beautiful new arena now, and we have fans, we sell out every game, and with all that comes expectations, and you have to embrace it, and we certainly do. It's one of those deals where sometimes I walk into this place every day and have to pinch myself with how far we've come and how short of a time it's been, and just being on a podcast with you guys, playing 2 years ago at T-Mobile in front of a sea of green at 18,000 against North Dakota. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been a lot of fun, and we feel like we're just getting started. It's chapter 2 now with the arena, with the league, and we're ready to go.
For sure.
And Coach, I wanted to ask you, because recruiting and fundraising, obviously 2 of your biggest strengths. You just mentioned you had 8 USHL players on your club team, and I was going to touch on that until you mentioned that, because that's just truly unbelievable in a sense of getting guys to buy into the team at the club level. Yes, we do still take it seriously, but now recruiting high-end players to come to ASU, maybe even kind of getting over that hurdle or the stigma of you're just coming to ASU maybe just to hit a wet deck. And it's not like that, guys. It's about getting better. It's about, yes, we can get you to the NHL. Look at Doan. Look at the Decords of the world. And so how do you sell maybe kids that are coming in for a visit that have the likes of North Dakota, Boston University, Minnesota, some of these other teams? Because I think in the next few years, especially, with you at the helm and the facilities, there's no reason why ASU shouldn't be a top 10, top 15 program year in and year out.
Yeah, we agree. We think we're at that point where we will be. But yeah, you get it all the time in recruiting battles and other programs. Oh, you don't go to ASU to be a serious hockey player. You go to ASU to party, and the fact of the matter is the guys here party no more than you did when you were at North Dakota. That's a fact.
I believe it.
We just get discriminated against because our parties are better.
Yeah,
exactly. And they're outside by pools with a lot of different fun things. Yeah, right. But at the end of the day, what is development, right? Development, we tell every kid this. And Joey Decord was the same. Josh Doan was the same. Brinson Pashnuk, Josh Maniscalco, who signed an NHL contract. They went to the NHL and they enjoyed a cord. Josh Norton are playing in the NHL because of them. It's not because of not because of us. We give you the resources here, every imaginable resource you can imagine, from world-class facilities to a world-class strength coach to a very diverse coaching staff with a really good skill set that has NHL experience. It's on the kid and the player what to do with those tools, and we take every excuse off the table in every way in our program. And most kids are starting to see that. And
sure.
Some of the recruits that we're bringing in, it's starting to show.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that. What we're going, like, you obviously think of ASU as a party school, but now it's a serious deal. I always thought, when you guys turned D1, I was like, God, that'd be sick. You got to get to, sunbathe and sit by the pool. Do you have to have any restrictions during the season? Like, hey, boys, no pool parties. We don't want you splashing around, because I feel like when I was in college, I would have needed the coach to tell me, like, hey, you better stay away from that shit, boys. And then I'm like, okay, now you're giving me a reason. If you don't give me a reason to stay away, I might head over there.
Yeah. Coach Powers is looking at you, Auzzo. He's like, hey, you're looking a little too tan right now. You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe you should be inside here in the gym a little bit more.
Yeah. I've been here a long time. I've been here since 1995, right? So I know every nook and cranny of this place. I know how great of a place it is. I know how much fun it can be. I went here. I've lived here forever. And yeah, we really know how to manage our guys here at a place like this. And we have a saying, and it's earn your Saturday, and Saturdays are for the Sun Devils. And I'm a big believer as a head coach that the college experience is more than just about hockey. I want them to have fun. I want them to go experience what an incredible campus this is, and go to football games and meet other kids on campus and experience all the great things that Arizona State brings. But you got to earn it, right? And
sure.
Put in your work days Monday through Friday, and you earn your Saturday here, and you let them go be college kids, and you give them some leash, and hopefully don't hang themselves. And we have a great culture. We have a great culture of kids that get that. They're here to win. They're here for the right reasons. And we've been here, and I've been here long enough to be able to sift out kids that just want to come because of the weather and the palm trees, and that's not what we're all about.
For sure.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, so you land the first verbal commitment out of Regina in the Western Hockey League, major junior player. And not only I thought that was a genius marketing play, because now you get all eyes on terms of being the first to grab a kid from major junior, obviously a verbal commitment out of Regina. But I just think it goes back to the saying a little bit too, is all press is good press. So tell me about the player a little bit. Can you comment on that? Or is that something that you can't really say anything until it's official? Because I just thought, like, you always seem just like you're a little bit above the curve a little bit in terms of, getting ASU started. Now you do this. It's just like, I think these little plays these little ploys it's not only marketing, but I really think it's very innovative.
Well, I appreciate that. And we're not traditional. Our whole mantra is be the tradition. And when we don't have 100 years, 150 years of tradition and alumni to fall back on, we have to be different. And even playing at Oceanside, we needed to do something that differentiated ourselves. So we had a million different uniform combinations. We were like the Oregon of college hockey, something that made us stick out a little bit as much as we could. And, I can't comment on the specific kid's name because he's not signed, but I can comment on the situation. And I think that to put it in a very simple terms, if there are kids making $1 million in NIL playing football and basketball in the NCAA, and a kid up in Regina, Saskatchewan, or wherever, Swift Current is making $50 a week, why the hell can't he play? Well, it makes no sense. And I think it makes college hockey better. There are some that don't. There are some that have that kind of old school mentality that don't want to mix the two. But what I've found in talking to CHL teams and high level people up in the CHL is most people up there are very supportive of this. And I think it's going to work both ways, where they might lose kids to college hockey a little bit sooner than they're used to, but it's also going to open a gateway for kids they've never had access to. So it's going to work both ways. And it's just going to make college hockey deeper and better. And there's a lot of people pissed off at us for supporting it, and we really don't care. There's a lot of good kids up there that maybe at 20 years old, they're not ready to be a pro and their career is over. Now they can extend their runway another 4 years and they might turn into a pro. And worst case along the way, they're going to get a world-class education to set themselves up for life. It's a good thing, I think, all around.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to going to play in the East Coast Hockey League, maybe going into a place like Wheeling, or now you're going to school at the University of Saskatchewan. No offense here, fellas, but we got a spot at ASU if you want it. You know what I mean? Like that sounds a little better to me than going and playing the coast, or maybe, I mean, fuck, even in the American League. I play in the American. I'd rather play at ASU and extend it that way and try to earn an NHL deal. So I think you're onto something there, Coach. And I just think it, like you said, we talked about it last week on our pod, on our show here too, is it just invites a more competitive atmosphere. I think it opens up avenues for more colleges, more programs to be in the mix. I think the expansion out west can even go a little bit deeper as far as, you guys now in the mix. I think a team like UCLA or USC should be in the mix. Maybe UNLV or the University of Arizona or University of Washington. Is that something that you see happening in terms of a little bit of expansion out this way, kind of like almost like a Pac-12 region of the NCHC, or are we not there yet, you think?
I think we're closer to there than we have been in a long time. We always wanted to be that first domino that led to bigger schools doing it. It's great to have the LIUs and the Lindenwoods and the Augustanas. They're great programs, and we want more programs of all types, but we need more Arizona States. We need Texas and Alabama and UCLA and Oregon and schools like that to go. And in order for us to really be that first domino, we needed the building, which we have. We won 24 games. We sold out every game. We have a season ticket waiting list a mile long. We have suites sold out. There's not a seat to be had. So we're a revenue sport. Our revenues exceed our expenses. That's really hard to do in college athletics.
Yeah.
If you can do it at Arizona State, we were second in college hockey and ticket revenue behind North Dakota last year. Wow. If you can do it at Arizona State, why can't you do it at Washington? Why can't you do it at UC? You can. And if they did, they would. So I think that we've opened some eyes with our success, our ability to be competitive very quickly, making a tournament in our third year out of Oceanside, and now we're making money. There's just no reason if you're looking to add, and not many programs, not with everything that's going on in the NCAA, nobody's looking to add sports, but when you can add a revenue sport, you have to look at it.
For sure. And you mentioned you're selling out the Mullett. You've got a mile-long season ticket. How did you, when you came in as a club team, did you always have fans, or how did you get these fans on board? When did that happen? Did it just happen overnight somehow because they're like, oh, hockey is cool? Or did you do some type of marketing around campus like, hey, guys, you should come watch these games. They're pretty cool.
When we were a club team, the only games we could get people to come to are when we played Arizona, because anything Arizona ASU people just go to. But when we went Division I, obviously publicity was raised and marketing was raised. We had a 700-seat ice rink, community ice rink with a ceiling as low as my office. Asbestos would go on the ice when the puck would hit it. But we packed it. It was sardines. And we created demand. It was really an impossible ticket to get. And then with our success, being a good story and a lot of national news of making a tournament so soon, and then again in year 4, it just took a life of its own, and Mullett happened. And there's a lot. I mean, Swish could tell you, this is it's not a hockey market issue here.
Yeah.
The market is good. It's an arena issue for the NHL. Right. So there's so many snowbirds here, and people from north and people from the east and Canadians that live here in the winter that just want to watch high level hockey, and they've adopted us as their college team. So it's been really cool to see.
I mean, in terms of the iconic Mullett, again, as I call it, for college hockey, I don't think there's a better atmosphere in terms of just the student section behind the net. Obviously, it's the perfect size, you know what I mean, in terms of about 5,000 odd people. And when that place gets going too, it's got a certain buzz, and I think that's going to take another level of its own this year going into NCHC play. But Greg, as we were talking just a little bit before the show, obviously about 10 odd days until you guys get underway here, You're going up to the jaw of Colorado Springs to Cadet Ice Arena. You're going to be playing Frank Serratori. That's Francis, folks, if you're asking. Air Force's team there. Tell us a little bit about just week one. Obviously, there's been a ton of preparation, but just talk about the squad, the current squad right now, how we're feeling. Obviously, I think you guys have taken a step in terms of your overall roster. There's a lot to be excited about, but again, that's going to be a tough test week one, going right into the chin of Air Force there.
Yeah, it's, everybody wants to talk about conference and NCHC and league play, and we have an 8-game gauntlet before it starts, and we host Michigan in our home opener a week after Air Force. So the focus here has been Air Force, Air Force, Air Force, not overlook Air Force. It's tough to go up in altitude and play them. They're really good at home. You know that they're going to work. Any Frank Serratori coach team works. And if you're not ready to play, they're going to punch you in your mouth and you're going to feel it. And you look at a team like Michigan State, who was really good last year, goes to Air Force to open, and they damn near got swept. So it's been a good lesson for our guys to not look past these guys. They're good. They're a really good hockey team. And if we don't work, we have no chance to beat them. So it's going to be a great test on the road to open the season.
Yeah. Auzzo, do you remember that when we played Air Force, it was my sophomore year, your freshman year, and it was the Hall of Fame game. So it was just one weekend, and it was Halloween weekend. And it was 1-1, I think, going into overtime. And Dave Haxtell previously, I think we were down 1-0 going into the third period. He said, if you fucking assholes lose this game, you're not going to want to see me Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So we're like, holy fuck. Okay, like we got to get together. Number one, because we got a big party tonight lined up at 4:20.
Yeah.
It was at your place.
Oh, yeah.
And number two, Hack's going to kill us. And I already had I brought my whole suit to the rink in terms of what I was going to wear. I had it in a little bag, I remember, because I was going as Lance Armstrong. So I had my tight spandex. I had my biker gloves. I had a helmet in there. I had everything ready to go. I actually had my 10-speed Gary Fisher parked out front too. So I was like, boys, we can't lose this game because I'm going right to 420 after this. So we end up winning that game. I think Kajula had a backdoor pass. Mike Parks actually ended the game. But man, I just remember Air Force, like you said, Coach, you cannot overlook those guys. Like they'll come in and punch you in the mouth right away. Like they're savages. I mean, they're the cadets. Like those guys are nail guns.
They didn't know cakewalk in the park there. Those boys come playing, and they're just like, I mean, they're skilled players too. They're just at the Air Force, and you kind of overlook that a little bit, but they've got a good team over there.
Oh yeah, real good.
Yeah, and a good coach there. But GP, I wanted to ask you, like, I'm going to come watch you guys play Michigan October 11th and 12th. It's your second weekend there. That's obviously going to be a great weekend at the Mullett playing the Wolverines. I just wanted to ask you, give me one forward and then maybe one silky defenseman on your blue line that I can watch and kind of just, maybe look at their hockey DB before I step into the Mullett arena. Like, okay, this kid's got some game. You know what I mean? Like, give me a couple of guys, one up front that you're really excited about. Maybe it's a guy coming in, a returner, and then one guy on the back end.
I think up front, you got to talk about Cullen Potter, right? And Potsy. He passed up his U18 year with the program to come in as an expedited freshman. So he's 17 in his draft year. He wanted to play college hockey in his draft year, and he's a world-class skater, a huge IQ. He's really settled in. He's mature beyond belief. If you met him and talked to him, you'd never think he was 17. So he's just a speed burner, man. He can really get up and go, and I think people are going to be surprised at how cerebral he is for how young he is. So really excited about him. He could be a potential top 10 pick and ASU's first ever first-round draft pick. So he's going to bring a lot to the table for us this year up front. And on the back, I think I'm really excited about Ty Murchison. Ty's a 5th-round Philly pick. Could have signed last year, but he wanted to come back, be a captain, be a part of our first year in the league. Get to a tournament and do some things that he hasn't been able to experience here. He's a Sun Devil, a real program guy. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I think, passing up a deal to come back is a big deal for us and for him. And we're going to hopefully make it pay off for him.
Yeah. Coach, I wanted to ask about the jerseys. You mentioned in club hockey, you had a ton of different jerseys. Now, the jerseys are unbelievable. The whole uniform, the whole setup, it's a huge selling point, I think. I mean, I always wanted to play for a team that had good jerseys. Who doesn't? So is that you kind of coming up with that stuff, or who's designing these jerseys and coming out with them? And how many do you have set up for this year?
Well, or so early on, it was. I said, let's be the Oregon of college hockey. When we went Division I, it was just something that could make us stand out. With when we went and played North Dakota in the Hall of Fame game, we had these unbelievable glittery Vegas type jerseys with chrome maroon helmets, and it was incredible. Now it took a life of its own where we had an equipment guy here. He's in San Jose now. His name is John Lofner, and he did an unbelievable job. He was so tight with Adidas, who was making all of our jerseys, and it just took a life of its own where we had, I think, 320 some odd combos between shorts, breezers, helmets, and jerseys. Joining the NCHC has been an unbelievable blessing, but the one downfall to it is they limit you to 3 jerseys.
Brutal.
So we're really bummed about that. And we're not here to ruffle feathers. We're not here to stomp our feet and kick them and throw a fit. But hopefully one day that'll change and you can see us get creative again. But right now we're just 3. Who's
the NCHC commissioner right now? Is it still Fenton?
No, he's the commissioner of the Summit League. It's Heather Weems, and in Heather's defense, that's not her rule. It was already in existence before she started. So
Heather, I'm gonna have to call the front office, try to get that changed.
I'm gonna say put Auzzo and the People's Insider on that because that's bullshit. Those Pat Tillman jerseys that you guys had, the Army ones, were some of the sickest I've ever seen. Those things were unbelievable.
We've got some good ones, and we had about 6 years ago, I had Austin Matthews do a big collab, and it was huge online and social media. Revealing one of our jerseys. It's been part of our identity that's made us unique. To get us to this point, and obviously we want to have more substance than just being known for a program that's cool jerseys, but it's part of who we are. We like to one day hopefully continue to do that.
Yeah.
Coach, how's the travel going to be? Is it charter birds in all these NCHC cities? Or are you hopping on a Southwest bird? Like what's the travel like here coming in? Because you're going to be logging some. What's that?
It just depends where you go. We'll charter some places. We'll go, like if it's the Denver or CC, it's an hour and 15-minute commercial flight for a fraction of the cost. So, every year we usually take a couple charters just based on where it is and how hard it is to get into. But we travel well. The boys never complain.
Do you think those Colorado teams will eventually be your biggest rivalries coming up here? Or do you guys already have kind of a rivalry in D1 right now?
We don't really. If we have one, I'd probably say it was Fairbanks because we play them 4 times in the last month every year, and you guys just you saw the fight up there.
Oh yeah.
They just want to kill each other by the end of it, right? So, to say we have a rivalry in our league, no, I don't think we've earned that right. We're new.
You'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there, and I think we'll get there quickly. But I think it'd be almost disrespectful to call anybody our rival because you have to earn that. And Denver and CC, we hope to be rivals with. And Omaha, when it goes to 10 teams with St. Thomas, will be our travel partner, so we'll play them a ton too. And we played Denver a ton, we played CC a ton, we played Omaha a ton. So we were very familiar with those programs, but now we got to do our part to make them want to make us a rival.
Yeah.
And I even think just, with North Dakota as well, especially a lot of the snowbirds down here, the farmers from North Dakota, like that weekend in January, GP, that's going to be crazy, man. Like the roof at Mullett actually might come off. That's going to be nuts.
I've seen there's secondary tickets on the secondary market for over $1,000.
Yeah, I've been looking. I'm trying to find one.
I know.
I'm like, I got to break the bank to go to this game.
I'll take care of you guys.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, because I was gonna say I'm looking online. Everyone and their mother's asking me like, "Swish, you got tickets?" I'm like, "Not for you, pal. I don't like you enough." Like I
have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of green in here. I mean, we went and you look like when we went to Vegas and played them 2 years ago. It was incredible. Like the support and the fans in North Dakota are unlike anywhere else. It's amazing. So we can't wait to go up to Ralph. It's one of the few places we haven't been yet, but we got a little taste of it at T-Mobile, and it was awesome.
How pumped were you guys? Because you guys won that game in Vegas against North Dakota. How pumped were you guys to see all the green in the stands? You guys win. I'd be walking off the ice with my middle finger up. Have a good trip back home, fellas. Thanks for coming out. That had to have been an unbelievable feeling winning that game.
It was pretty cool. It just going up and it was such a unique setting because you're in the casino hotel casino right across the deal from T-Mobile with all their fans, and they were really good before the game, but definitely boisterous and loud about the way they thought it would go. And I'll give them credit. After we beat them, they were awesome. Like they were just like, hey, you guys won, and we went out, and I remember getting on the bench, and I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy, and we knew it'd be packed, but not to that extent. And they were loud, and we went down 2-0 like that. And then we just snapped out of it and played really well. I think we held the 15 shots in the game and played a really, really good game and got a great win for our program.
Yeah, that had to feel good. I just remember seeing pictures of that just arena, the sea of green, and then obviously ASU pulling it out. But GP, I wanted to ask you just lastly, my last question is your staff you've built there. You obviously have LB O'Connell, I believe, is on the staff now. Who is your other assistant coach? He's a longtime National Leaguer too, as well, right?
Yeah, Albie actually left. He went back to Montreal. So Albie,
oh, he did.
Yeah, he got a really big job as a director of scouting. So he went back, did a great job while he was here. But Alex Hicks has been with me from day one. So I knew. Look, I knew I had to surround myself with somebody that had been there and done that. And
right.
He's a great story. He played Division III hockey at Wisconsin Eau Claire and was maybe the best Division III hockey player in the history of the NCAA. A lot of people would argue that, and made himself into an NHLer from playing Division III. So he knows what it takes. And he was a great, I was already friends with him, and it was somebody that I could trust, and somebody that trusted me and didn't discriminate against my lack of pedigree. And it's been a great partnership. And he's been kind of that go-to guy and rock on my staff from day one. And when Albie left, I brought in Mike Corbett from Quinnipiac, who just won a national championship 3 years ago. He's been a head coach, tons of experience, played at Denver. Really, really just a beauty. Great guy. Players love him. Mm-hmm. And then Dana Borges is our kind of go-getter. He's 33. He does everything. He's a jack of all trades. He's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. Loves to get on the road, just a workaholic. He's going to be a head coach within 5 years. We got a really good staff here.
Yeah. When did LB take off? Was that recently? Was that in the last couple months?
Took off, yeah,
or was
probably
that after the season?
It was officially 3 months ago, right? Okay. And we're still really good friends. And he did a great job while I was here. But his family never moved out from Boston. Okay. Yep. And they didn't know if they were gonna make the move, and then Montreal just kept coming at him because the guy can evaluate talent, and he's a great recruiter too. But he's got a great eye, and they missed him. He was there when he left BU, and they just kept reeling him in to bring him back. And hey, it's the NHL, and you can never fault a guy for going back to the NHL. And but he did a great job while I was here.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you? So being you've said it you don't have the quote unquote resume when you first started as a club hockey coach, but you were always recruiting higher end players for club hockey with the USHL players. How did you learn to recruit and evaluate? Was that something that you kind of discovered within yourself, or was that bouncing ideas off of Hicksy, or were you just a really good listener and you get out on the road a bunch and grind? Was it a combination of all? I was just curious because you're getting great players now.
Yeah, I own an executive recruiting company, so it's the same thing.
Good,
you get hired by a client that wants you to go find a CEO for them. You have to get to know their culture. You have to get to know everything about the client, and then you got to go find the right fit, right? So there's a million people that on paper could fit a job description, but it's all about the human fit. And I think when you're building a hockey program, it's the same thing. There's a lot of good players that are good enough to play here, but we got to go find the right kid, right? And it's been that way every phase of our program, and then just surrounding myself with really good people. But I think at the end of the day, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It sounds cheesy, but it's just how kids are today, and our guys know that I care about them. Our guys know that I'm in this for the right reasons. And I think if you can just play for a guy that has genuine passion for everybody in the program and their futures, it's good things can happen.
Yeah. When you're a recruiting coach, I always find this interesting because I think about myself recruiting for a team, what I would look for first or where I would go first. So do you look at it? Do you watch them on the ice first? Do you try to talk to the parents first? Do you try to ask maybe friends, peers, or coaches first? What is that process like? What do you look for first when you're recruiting a player?
Compete, like it generally 3 shifts. Like if I'll watch a kid for 3 shifts and if he's not, you can just know, if he's not competing in his first 3 shifts or not on all 3, like he's not for us. And obviously, you have to recruit families, and you can tell a lot about a kid and how they're going to be able to fight through adversity and in tough situations, and maybe being on a 4th line when they feel like they should be on a 2nd line, whatever it may be. You got to recruit families, right? And you can see a lot of red flags throughout a recruiting process if a mom or dad say some off kilter things. But at the end of the day, it's all about the human fit, and culture. And I think that's what we've done the best job with here, because we haven't always been, obviously the best team, but we've had a really good culture of the right kind of kids, like the Johnny Walkers, who, he's got a ton of character and he's a colorful guy, but that kid played with passion and he didn't give a crap on anybody thought. And he loved ASU, and he wasn't afraid to show some emotion and wear his heart on his sleeve. And that's why he was so successful here. We just kind of let him be him, and by the end of his tenure, he's one of the most beloved kids that will ever play here.
For sure.
I love what you said there, Coach. Just let him be him, because as simple as that sounds, it gets lost a lot. You get put in a box at some levels. Maybe a coach tries to take away a little bit of your personality, and then that kind of translates on the ice. You're not as confident. It's like, you got to just let a dude be a dude. That's why I'm here, baby. Right. I'm in here because I'm coming in. I'm wearing a velour jumpsuit some days to practice. That's just, I got to do that to be good on the ice. If you take that away from me, take the velour from me, now maybe I ain't, making that toe drag little butter sauce that wins the game. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I got one last question, and I do have to ask it because he was one of my best friends my freshman season. Wade Murphy went to ASU after North Dakota. Did you ever think – now, I don't know how Murph was at ASU. I think he had a pretty good career there. He's a pretty good player. We know in practice he had a tremendous amount of skill, but he's still playing now. He's got a good professional career going, and I don't know if you saw a picture of him without a shirt on, but he's fucking jacked now. Did you ever picture this, and how was he at ASU when you had him?
Wardo is one of my favorites. He's the beauty of beauties. Like he came down here and he went through a year at Arizona State as a redshirt, because back then you couldn't transfer right away, right? So when he left you guys, all he did was practice, and I'm sure have way more fun than I could possibly imagine. But he played the next year, and he was really good. I think he could rip a puck. He can think it. He can skate. And I think he just put it. He put it together here. But he's killing it in Idaho. Like, he's one of the top in that league, and I'm happy for him. We still stay in touch and talk. We've had a few guys in Idaho, and they say he's the same. Like, all the guys just love him. And Wardo is one of my faves. He was a great get for us, especially at that point in our program.
Yeah.
He was the kind of talent we lacked. So, we're really happy for him.
Yeah, he was a true beauty. One of those guys that he might not have said a word for the first 4 months you met him, and then all of a sudden that one night where you have a couple too many, it's like, okay, now I know why this guy's funny. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh man, what a beauty that guy.
A great kid. Like just a good person.
Yep.
He is
awesome.
No,
I miss that guy.
No, he's awesome. Well, Coach, I will be boots on the ground for that Michigan game in a couple weeks here, and we'll go from there. But I can't wait to see it this year. NCHC play, obviously going into it, big season. I'm a North Dakota guy at heart, but if there is a 1B, it is ASU. This is my new home, so always rooting for you guys, always pulling for you. I love the program, and in Sun Devil hockey, man, it's good, but it's going to be really good here coming up. So I wish you all the best for the season, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.